this is the first point which we are seeing on the top, that is called as mounting point. If these people are connected to this mounting point, then only they are able to access the data which is connected to this particular mounting point. And this is the unmounted partition. It means these people, they don't have access to any of this particular data which is stored in a particular server to which they are now mounted to. So this is what we call as a mount point, as shown earlier itself. So these are our users, and these users have access to this mount point only if they are connected to this particular mount point. Coming to the next part, that is the file sharing. So sharing of files on multi-user systems is desirable because the thing is, sharing of files when we are using a system, or if a system is being used by multiple users and all of them require almost the same files or the related files, then it should be shareable. So it is very desirable that sharing of files is enabled. Sharing may be done through a protection scheme. Protection scheme is the thing wherein we are going to protect the data, we are going to protect the files. So on distributed systems, files may be shared across a network. So when a system or number of systems are connected in a network, that is what we commonly call as distributed systems or shared systems. So the files should be shareable, for which we use a common protocol. It is called network file system. So it is a common distributed file sharing method. So what is this NFS? This NFS is called a network file system, wherein we are going to share the file among the people who are using that file repeatedly, redundantly, or they are using it maybe alternatively, but it is required. So if there are multiple users, how do we protect the file? We protect the file by giving or by providing the users a specific user ID which will identify the users. Then it will allow the permission, and then it will give the permission and protections to be per user. The per user is given a unique user identification number, or it may be a number, or it may be alphanumeric, or it depends on the system and it depends on the organization also. So user IDs are given to particular users to identify them. And also, if it is a group task, then group IDs are also allotted to that particular group, wherein any person of that particular group can access the data. So file sharing, usually it uses networking to allow file system access between systems. It is done manually via programs like FTP. It is done automatically, that is seamlessly using distributed file systems, and it is done semi-automatically via World Wide Web. So manually we can transfer the file from one system to another system. Automatically, that is the distributed file systems. As we can see on some sites, if we want to download a PDF or a form, it is automatically downloaded. We need not send any request to get that particular document from that particular site. So semi-automatically is via World Wide Web. For example, our email. So email is example for semi-automatic file sharing system. So the client server model allows clients to mount remote file systems from the servers. So this is the example which I had given earlier also, that is the results, the declaration of results by universities and colleges. So they use this kind of servers. They are having various kinds of servers actually. So a server can serve multiple clients. So if multiple clients are trying to access the data which is stored in that server, obviously server will be hanged. So we will not be able to access the data. So client and user on client identification is insecure or complicated. Example of the result access through the university website or any board website. What happens is the user identification cannot be done because any person can access that particular result from any system or multiple systems. So every user is not having any particular identification. We cannot university cannot university cannot disclose the data, or university cannot get the data that which particular candidate has accessed the result. Maybe I can access result of 4 else of my classmates, or you people, one person of you can access the result of your friends also. So it's not like you can access your result only. So your result, your friend's result, all the results are accessible to everybody. So this is one thing wherein this becomes quite complicated when you talk about the protection, because it is not completely insecure, but insecure in terms of the data, we can say, because it's not like only you can see your result, your friends can also see your result if they know your register number or university seat number. So NFS is network file system. It is a standard Unix client server file sharing protocol. So using this many times, or usually NFS is used for sharing the data. Along with NFS, we use a common internet file system, that is CIFS. It is a standard Windows protocol. We need to take under consideration that to design servers, there are two different kind of operating systems which we are going to use. One is the Unix and another is Windows. So Unix people, they use NFS, and Windows servers, they use CIFS. So standard operating system file calls are translated into remote calls. So whatever our standard operating system files are there, file calls are there, so they are translated into remote calls, in the sense internally they are translated. So distributed information systems, that is distributed naming services such as LDAP, DNS, NIS, Active Directory implement. So all Active Directory, these implement unified access to information needed for remote computing. If some person is working remotely onto the server, yes, the data or the files can be shared using these particular protocols. Now what are these protocols? Let us see in detail. DIS, and that is what we discussed. So the first one was LDAP. It is lightweight directory access protocol. It is an open protocol which is used to store and retrieve data from a hierarchical directory structure. So as we can see here, the directory structure itself is hierarchical. We cannot directly go to a particular section of the directory and access it. So it is we need to follow that hierarchy in the directory structure. So commonly used to store information about an organization and its assets and users. So as in our information, if you visit the website of any of the organizations, educational organizations in particularly, so when we go to the website of any educational organization, there we can see first is the home, then it will say you have a tab named about us, then you have a tab named departments. In that departments, you have the names of various departments which that particular organization is having. In that you get, once you enter that department, then you see the tab named faculty, non-teaching and teaching, all the data which is related to only that particular department. So this is a hierarchical directory structure wherein the access is provided hierarchically. As you go inside, the access is provided to you. It's not like it is completely protected or password protected kind of thing, but you need not worry about any such password or protection, but the data is stored in a hierarchy. So commonly it is used for organizations. So it is a flexible solution for defining any type of entity and its qualities. That's what just now I told, because the type of entity, you are searching for departments, yes, you will get the departments, and in that, what are its qualities? Again, inside the department, we need to have what is the academic performance of the department, what are the facilities, who all are teaching in that particular department, faculties and everything. So next type is the DNS, that is domain name servers. They are the internet's equivalent of a phone book. What they do is they maintain a directory of domain names and translate them into internet protocol addresses, that is commonly known as IP addresses. So DNS is the server which is usually used by our internet service providers, because they don't they don't need to keep it is difficult to keep the track of which person has accessed what data. So each of our systems will be assigned an IP, that is internet protocol address, and based on that IP address, the people or the system through which the data has been accessed can be found. This IP address, obviously it is a unique, two IP addresses cannot be same. So this is a kind of secured thing, so that you can access or you can trace back which particular system has accessed what particular data. Next is the NIS, that is Network Information Service. It is a client server directory service protocol which is used for distributed systems to maintain consistent data and configuration files through a network. So this is basically, it is a client server directory. It is used for distributed systems and it maintains consistent data and configuration, and this is all this is done, this is as the name itself suggests, it is network information service. So whatever information which is related to network, basically, okay, it is used and it is stored consistently. Next is the Active Directory. This Active Directory is the implement unified access to information needed for remote computing. The directory, the Active Directory, in the last video we discussed about directories. There are something called Active Directories, which provide unified access to information. So anytime you access the information through Active Directory, inside the Active Directory, it is always available. As the name itself suggests, it is Active Directory, you cannot close it. Okay, so it is always active, it is always being updated. So the whenever the remote computing is being done, at that time this Active Directory plays a very important role. So what are the failure modes? Remote file systems add new failure modes due to network failure or server failure. Yes, many times we see not able to access the server or site can't be reached. All these messages which are displayed on the browser, it is due to these failure mode. So recovery from failure can involve state information about status of each remote request. Sometimes it says if internet itself is not connected, then obviously we will see a screen which will be displaying the message as no internet. Or sometimes if server is not accessible, and at that time it says DNS error, site can't be reached. So all these things many times or frequently when it happens, usually it gets corrected by itself. We need not do anything, we just need to wait for the server to connect back, recover from the failure by itself. So the state information, that's what it is displayed on the screen every time. So stateless protocols such as NFS include all information in each request, allowing easy recovery, but it is very less security because these are not having particular states. Any state in which the server is present. So all that particular thing is accessible to the person itself. So the person can, the user can recover from that particular state by accessing the server directly. So it becomes a less secure system. So as you can see, in the file sharing we have a consistency semantics which specify how multiple users are to access a shared file simultaneously. So in the process synchronization algorithms, as we see, create a group, that is maybe that is a unique name. Let us say the G is the group, and add some users to the group. As we can see, who are the users for a particular file, say a game or subdirectory. Define an appropriate access. So what kind of access? As you can see here, the group has been created whose name is G game. So to this game, okay, to this particular game, there are altogether 7 owners. Okay, owner access, owner type of access has been provided to 7 people. 6 accesses are being provided to the group, and 1 is to the public. So we need to attach a group to a file. So any file that is created, we need to attach a group. So that's it, guys. Thank you for your patient listening. Wishing you all a very happy learning time. Please don't forget to subscribe my channel, Tech Talks EC. Thank you.